Great. Now that we have this set up, the next part is going to be to write some code inside this function that is going to go get the Giphy data from what's known as the Giphy API, and then we're going to select a GIF from the data it gives us and make it appear on the page. Now, before I write this whole function, I am going to put some comments into my code. We call this pseudocode, and the comments are just going to guide the actual code I write. So the things I want to accomplish are, and I'm going to put double slash here so it's a comment. I'm going to say first, I want to fetch Giphy data from the Giphy API. And you don't know what APIs are yet. We're going to talk about that in a second. After I get the Giphy data from the Giphy API, we're going to pick a random GIF from the search term we chose. Then we are going to make that GIF appear on the page. So those are the three things we're going to accomplish in this function that's going to make this app work. Now, you do not have to write these comments in if you do not want to. I always write comments in so I know exactly what it is I'm trying to accomplish with my code. Now, before we go any further, I do need to explain what this first part means, because this is the most confusing part. When I say fetch Giphy data from the Giphy API, what I'm actually talking about is going to get information from a website called Giphy. Now, when you go to Slack and you type in /Giphy, what you're actually doing is you're using the information from Giphy.com. And so if you go to Giphy.com and open it up, Giphy is a website that provides all different kinds of GIFs for free, which is really cool. So if I type something in here like pandas, it's going to give me a bunch of GIFs on pandas. Pandas, yes. You have a Giphy app, so yeah, you can get Giphy apps on your phone too if you want to look up random GIFs. Look at that little panda chilling. And this is actually how the Slack app works. It goes to get GIFs from the Giphy app. Oh yeah, this is a really interesting one. The panda tried to pull him through the fence. Crazy, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to get the data from Giphy, and then we're going to bring it into our app. What's funny is that Giphy actually gives you an opportunity to get that data from their API, and all you have to do is go to a different website that's close to Giphy. It's called developers.giphy.com. So everyone go ahead and type that in right now into your console, developers.giphy.com. And that should take you to what's known as the Giphy API. And the Giphy API is where we're going to create apps that allow us to use all of the GIF data that is currently available. To do that, you guys need to come here and click on the dashboard, or if it says sign in or whatever, click login or whatever. I'm going to show you what it looks like for me. I click log out, and yours should say something like log in or something like that with a create an app next to it. Make sure you click the login button, and then it'll ask you to sign up. You're going to want to sign up also. Click the one that says like join Giphy when you click login. Now, I don't think I can do it because I think it's just going to log me in automatically. Like that. But what you should be doing when you come here is it should tell you to sign up, and then you should click join Giphy at the bottom. So make sure everyone does that right now. I'm going to move on in a second when everybody's signed up. Now, once you're here, you should see a button that says like create an app or something. Something along those lines, correct? I actually should have one too. Oh, there it is. So everybody click this create an app button. When you do that, it'll ask you for an app name. My app name is going to be period 6 Giphy practice. And then your app description can be whatever you want. Teach my students how to use Giphy. And then you click create new app. Ta-da! Just like that. You can put whatever you want for your app name. Your app name does not have to be period 6 whatever. You can put whatever you want there. You click create new app, and it should make a new Giphy app for you right here. See where it says period 6 Giphy practice? Or whatever you named your app? As long as you have an API key, that is all you need. Now, once you've done this, our next goal is to figure out how to get the data from Giphy. To do that, I'm going to press Control-click on the Docs tab right there and open that link in a new tab. So if you open that link in a new tab, it'll take you to the API documentation. Now let's talk a little bit about what an API is. An API stands for Application Programming Interface, which is the fancy way of saying, get the information we have and use it. So when you log into an app with Google or you log in with Facebook, you're using their APIs. When you log in with Facebook, Facebook's API gives you the user information. When you log in with Google, Google's API gives you their information and allows you to log in with their service. What we're going to do is we're going to use Giphy's API to get their GIFs. So if you scroll down a little bit, there will be a button that says search. I want everyone to click on that button right there. That'll take you down here and that will show us how to use this API so that we can get all of Giphy's information. Now, the interesting thing about APIs is the way you communicate and get data on the internet is by using these things up here. Some people just call them links, but does anyone know the actual name for this string of text right here? No. The name of the website? What do we call it? Does anyone know? URL. Did you say that? Exactly right. It's called a URL. And we get data on the internet by going to a URL. And so we're actually going to do that inside our function right here. Right below where it says fetch Giphy data from the Giphy API, we're going to say var URL is equal to, and then we're going to make a string, and we're going to use the URL that Giphy tells us to get their information. Every URL that we're going to deal with is going to start with https:// Now, we're not going to talk too much about HTTP and HTTPS in this class. If you want to learn more, take my AP Computer Science Principles course. But essentially what you need to know is that HTTPS is the way we communicate across the internet. And we communicate by saying, hey, I want to go get information at whatever comes after these two slashes. And if you look at the Giphy documentation, it'll tell you. Where does it tell you to go to get their information? It says the host is api.giphy.com, and so we can put that right here. We'll say api.giphy.com, and then we'll say slash whatever else it tells us to include, v1/gifs/search. So I come here and I say v1/gifs/search. Now at this point, we're almost ready to get Giphy data. But we have one more thing we need to include. Giphy allows you to get their GIFs online, but they have to identify who you are. So they don't just have random people non-stop asking for their information. That is why we needed to create an app. And so if you come down here, you see how we have this thing called an API key? We need to include that in our URL so that Giphy knows exactly who it is who is asking for their information. So if you copy that API key right there and you head back into Cloud9, after search, you're going to put $API_key is equal to, and then you paste in the API key they gave you. Just like that. Now this part's a little confusing and I totally understand if you don't get it. Don't worry too much. Right now we're just creating a URL that will allow us to get all of Giphy's information. Now there's actually only one last thing we need to do and then we can get all the GIFs we want. Right after you paste it in your API key, you're going to type the AND symbol and then a Q equals whatever you want to search up. The Q stands for query. So we're going to query Giphy's database and we're going to ask for GIFs about somebody give me something. What should we try and find GIFs of? Potato. Sounds good. We're going to look up some potatoes. Now, once you have all of this, copy paste that whole link. You can look up whatever you want, my friend. They probably will have GIFs on it. Look up whatever you want. And if you copy that whole link and you go into a new tab and paste that link in, it should actually give you back all of the data correctly if you did it right. You should see data that looks like this probably, since I have a nice little JSON formatter Chrome extension. You probably don't, so yours probably looks like this, right? Are people getting that? If you have an error, it means you searched for something it could not find, or your API key is wrong, but I'll help you fix your errors in a second. Now, just to show you that this worked, I'm going to select one of these links. I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to see what it looks like. And I actually have no idea. Let's find out. Oh, there we go. Tater's gonna tate. That's phenomenal. So now we've used Giphy's API to grab a GIF from their website. And so at this point, we're now ready to start bringing those GIFs into our app and display them on our page.